You know, a disaster that we weren't able to name for so long. Sometimes we call it the year of the Great Potato Failure, Gorta Mór, time the famine, and so forth. But it is very interesting that at that time, the 23-year-old Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, Abdülmecid I, who had become Sultan at 16 years of age, some years before, was so moved by the story of the Irish famine, perhaps helped by the fact that his physician was a Dr. McCarthy, related to him, but interestingly made an offer of £10,000 for the relief of the Irish famine. And it's very interesting, the story that has been there since 1853 in both the history of the Ottoman Empire and also in the British State Papers, that he was told that giving such a large sum of money would be embarrassing for the representative of the empire of the time, who had given £1,000. And of course it's interesting also to think that the Sultan, towards the end of his life, is recorded as saying that if he had his time all over again, he would have given a multiple of his £10,000. It's also, I think, as well during that period, and without dwelling on it, is that a number of ships came to Ireland, to the east coast, to distribute food to a starving Irish people. But whatever the details of the transaction, I think these actions of great generosity and compassion towards the people of a distant land, they stand today as a powerful symbol of genuine friendship and empathy that exists between the Irish and the Turkish people. And it is important, I think, as well, that we remember that this is just one of the many instances where over the centuries, the Irish going abroad have used their influence, in this case a Dr. McCarthy, for the benefit of their fellow Irish women and men at home. And it's an admirable tradition that continues to this day. And it is an example to us all, an indication of that positive internationalism and recognition of interdependency that has led to Ireland being among the countries that's one of the fastest to respond to hunger and humanitarian crises. All of this, of course, is the very antithesis of war. And I think this former internationalism is an internationalism that we continue to need today. Of course, speaking of war, and now I think most people, 100 years on, rarely use the phrase the Great War except in terms of the great catastrophe that it was for the loss of life and the slaughter of life. But I've come to Turkey to join with other leaders from around the world in solemn ceremonies to